Hello. Wow. Good morning, everybody. So glad to be speaking in front of you today as the replacement speaker for the Reverend movie. Oh, sorry, good. That's probably why you sold out. So I'm here to talk about transparency. But first, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Mark Sunderland. I work at Ann Bar, which is a little operation next to Lake Eola. I started my advertising career in Yellow Shoes Creative Group. Some of you guys have probably heard of that, I imagine. And then I went to, what? MMGY Creative Group. And from there I went to Tampa. I worked in St. Petersburg at an agency called Paradise. And from there I went to PPK. I don't know if you've heard of that. We did a lot of Bright House stuff. Did a lot of music for them. And then from there, I ended up here at Amazon. And this was kind of a rush, so I just picked the first template I found. And it happened to be the wedding stuff. But transparency as it pertains to advertising, and more specifically writing, is an interesting topic for me. Like, when you talk about storytelling, how do you tell stories and maintain transparency? I don't know, but if we're using transparent C's, this might be one of the ways you could tell stories. By the way, this is the story of how Orlando was founded, was formed. This is the story of Orlando. See, the ship came over. Disney came. Whoa. There it is. There's Bank of America, and next comes Wells Fargo. That's it. So transparency and advertising, you could talk about it a million ways, and I'm probably going to talk about it 13 or so. Originally, I was thinking that, as most of my talks become, is an opportunity to self-aggrandize, but I thought, maybe this once I'll do something different and actually really dig in to the topic. So transparency in advertising, to me, it's about honesty in advertising, truth in advertising. So, truth in advertising seems weird to me. Like who would want to be truthful? Our job is to compel people to do things and coerce them into taking action. And yes, we want to be honest about that, but honesty in advertising seems so at odds. Because even if we tell the truth, we use everything we say, you can fact check it, and it's all proper. It's so easy to skew the truth. So authenticity maybe is a more appropriate word than when talking about advertising. So let's talk about authenticity. Sorry, this is going to happen because I used the wedding thing, right? When I think about authenticity, I think about this covenant between writer and reader, right? When you sit down, hopefully you get a good brief, a well-written brief, and you write against this brief, and you're writing against a brand, and you try to sell that brand, you're an advocate for that brand. So, ostensibly, your vow is to be truthful in every word and phrase. You can do that, and still sort of be not truthful. Oh, here we go again. Let's suppose the groom there is the writer and the bride is the reader or consumer. I can still be truthful in every word and phrase, but I'm still going to try to trick them. And that is sort of the conundrum when we talk about transparency in advertising. And the fact is that today, as we sit here, consumers, people have more real-time information or real-time access to instant information than at any other time in our history, including just 5 sections ago. It's becoming more that way, not less that way. And so it kind of, we get still the wedding stuff, it's sort of sad. So I'm talking about authenticity and the history of advertising. Who was the godfather of authenticity? Like the first guy to really be authentic? I think it might have been this guy, the Colonel. I can remember being a young kid and just being obsessed with Colonel Sanders. Like his whole act. He started a chicken place in a gas station. He was really a colonel. He was born in Kentucky. And then suddenly we see this guy replacing him with this new KFC. And I'm like, what happened to the Colonel? Talk about transparency. The way this relates to transparency is that they used famous actors to replace the Colonel. They could have used anybody, but they used these famous guys. So there was no mistaking that this was going to be a kind of a funny thing. Have you seen this stuff, by the way? No? Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. The attempt to replace the original is transparent because he was, I already said that stuff. So, as writers and advertisers, we have a duty to be authentic, I think. We also have a duty to be inauthentic. Now, I know it's probably a little confusing, but I think that's also true. Also, happily ever after is not a fairy tale. Wait, this is wedding stuff. Don't put yourself in your own commercials, because I think it detracts from the authenticity. We, as creatives, everybody does everything these days, right? We write the stuff. Some of us direct. Some of us act in the stuff, I suppose. What you don't want to do is put a guy in a bear costume and try to convince customers that it's a real bear. That's a metaphor, I suppose, for not trying to fool people. Because they'll find out. Like I said, you have more real-time access to information today than you ever did in the history of advertising. So, with that, I'd like to play for you an example of some authentic advertising.
Hey friend, don't do that. Fresh beer and a growler is where it's at. Follow me and I'll show you a brew stop wonderland. Well, first you buy a growler, just like the one in your hand. And you take it to an ABC, and you fill it at the brew stop stand. Then you clear the bottle of oxygen, because it makes the brew go stale. Then you fill it all up with beer, a Pilsner or a stout or an ale. ABC, fine wine and spirits and beer. You can find your favorite craft beers here. So fresh, grab it and growl. Fresh beer now, it's so easy. Even a bear could do it alone and drive it all home. So grab your little brown jug and grab it and growl. Fresh beer now, it's so easy. Even a bear could do it alone and drive it all home. So grab your little brown jug. ABC, fine wine and spirits and beer. You can find your favorite craft beers here. So fresh, grab it and growl. Fresh beer now, it's so easy. Even a bear could do it alone and drive it all home. So grab your little brown jug and grab it and growl. Fresh beer now, it's so easy. Even a bear could do it alone and drive it all home. So grab your little brown jug and grab it and growl.
Here comes another one.
Alright. So in the spirit of full transparency, that was not a real bear. In fact, the guy who was in the bear costume was right behind him. He doesn't believe in transparency at all. Barely see through that thing. So we're talking about authenticity. Now we did this ABC spot. It's about a minute and 45 seconds. It's meant to be on social media channels, and we also are going to put it in the 145 ABC stores throughout the state of Florida, promoting the ground. And we, I assume, kind of with the song promoted it in an authentic way. That was a spot that was done in Canada. My girlfriend was the producer on it, but I wanted to show it to you guys as an example of what really, truly authentic work is. I mean, bending the topic of transparency to authenticity. I think this, more than any other kind of work we've seen in this category, is really authentic, hard-hitting kind of stuff. It hides nothing. It gets right to the grit of it, and instead of sort of, I don't know, pandering or being melodramatic, it's a very aggressive way to talk about children's health care. All right, so transparency regarding building trust by staying hardened. Are any of you guys familiar with transparency advertising? Yeah, I wasn't either, but transparency advertising, I looked it up. Cool. It's a way well, it's a covenant also with the reader or the consumer. Say, hey, we're about to advertise to you. This is, when you skip an ad on YouTube, this is sort of transparency advertising. It gives you the opportunity to opt out. It is with your browser and cookies by tracking login information. Transparency advertisers informs users of these practices so that they make a decision whether they want to participate, which is the future of advertising. I think giving consumers an opportunity to ignore it. We have more ways to ignore advertising than we ever did before because we have more ways for it to reach us than it ever has before. Here's some examples of some transparency advertising that don't necessarily fit into that mold I just talked about before. But you remember when McDonald's decided to be real honest and have these kiosks for people to come up and offer suggestions, and then they posted all these quotes on the walls. Very pretty bold way to advertise. And then Southwest has this ad touting that nothing to hide, low fares, and then they refer to it as transparency, which I think is pretty neat. So in closing, transparency, I don't know if I can recommend it, but sometimes maybe I can, and that's it.